Beach FM kick-off sports breakfast show with HMC Kapiti, your local authorised Kia and Suzuki sales and service agent, and now your local AA Auto Centre. At HMC Kapiti, the journey just gets easier. Find out how easy online at hmckapiti.co.nz.
Welcome back to the Kickoff Sports Breakfast Show on Beach FM 106.3. Well, we've just had a club rugby season in the bag and we look forward to summer, and spring is just around the corner. So let's talk about summer sport for a second, and let's welcome into the show our good friend from Ballpark Broadcasting, Sky Sports, and now Oriana TV. It's Jason Gerbes, a.k.a. Chopper. G'day, mate.
Yeah, g'day, Damian. Good to see you again, mate. And I've really enjoyed the winter here with you this season. It's been really good. But I'm really excited about the softball summer season coming up for 2020-21.
Absolutely, mate. Well, firstly, thank you for coming in and talking to me. Secondly, thank you for joining me with that rugby commentary this season. But you're right, we are excited. We are looking forward to one of our favourite sports in the world, and that is softball. So, mate, it's been an interesting year. We've seen changes to setups left, right and centre. So, first and foremost, mate, how are you doing at this time? And secondly, how is the softball season looking in general for the nation?
Well, I think I'm just like everyone else. You know, we're dealing with COVID and what that brings to you, whether you're what part of the country and what that entails. But you know what? The summer season of softball is exciting. Why is it exciting? Because there's an opportunity to get back out there on the paddock or back out there on the diamond and do what you do. We're going to be COVID-free by that time, and we're going to be able to enjoy ourselves. And you know what? Not many countries can say that.
No, absolutely, mate. There's a lot of countries that cannot say that. So we are looking forward to now. We have seen changes. We've seen changes all across the board with codes. They've had to adapt. You know, we can't have so much national tournaments, maybe going a bit more regional. And I see that softball has already embraced that approach.
They sure have. You know, Softball New Zealand's been really proactive when it's come to COVID. And it's been a tough ask for any sporting code. But Softball New Zealand, Tony Giles, they've done a great job there in the head office. And they've actually thought ahead of things. And so part of their strategy this year, instead of having national tournaments for age groups, they will be regional tournaments. A little bit different. Some parents might say, well, wait a minute, I want my kid to play for a national title. But they now know that it's not a bad thing, actually. So they're going to be regional tournaments. So that means the sport is going to find its fingers into more parts of the country. So there'll be regional tournaments all over the country, from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island. That should be exciting. So they've decided to do that from U23 all the way down to U15. So that'll include the U18 grades as well, both boys and girls spread across the country. There'll be regional tournaments. So instead of one national tournament, there'll be like 4 or maybe 5 regional tournaments. So all of a sudden, you can see the numbers are going to grow.
Absolutely, mate. And what does that do for the game? Because we know a national tournament, you've got to qualify. It's a pretty special thing to even be playing in a national tournament. But what happens to those little suburbs, little regions that wouldn't necessarily be at a national tournament, but might be at a central region kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Take something like Tairawhiti, Gisborne, right?
Absolutely.
You know, they have an opportunity to come to a national tournament. They not qualify or whatever the case is, but they definitely qualify for a regional tournament, and that's a great thing. I know some parts of the South Island is very similar, but Canterbury, stuff like that, they definitely qualify for a regional tournament. So it does mean, as I was saying before, more kids, more parents, more coaches, more umpires, more referees, you name it, they're going to be involved in the sport. And softball's already ingrained in New Zealand because they just know how to win.
Absolutely, mate. Well, we've seen a delay in a few codes. Are we going to see a later start, a shorter season in softball, or is that too early to tell?
Well, for my read up and down the country, that's kind of varied a little bit. So normally softball starts around about mid or early October, and I've heard some still starting in that period, some starting at the end of October. So there's not too much of a crunch happening in the softball season because, of course, we're allowing this winter code to finish, whether that be rugby, netball, or league, or whatever the case is. So they've still got plenty of time to play. And the good thing is, as I mentioned before, we're COVID-free, so it's going to be able to play the game unrestricted. Don't worry about numbers at parks and games and all that type of thing. So it's quite exciting, and there's a lot of big things to come in the season as well.
Absolutely, mate. Well, let's talk about a few of those things. I want to touch on national actually for a second. with these regional tournaments and the age group, how are the national selectors going to get around? How are they going to, pick their best side if they're not going to have that national tournament?
Well, I think they can be like everyone else, to be fair. They're going to have to improvise. We've done the same with business these days, or just general life with COVID, on how to find the best way to get around the country, to explore and to see what the best talent is. And I think with those regional tournaments, if they get snippets of it through streaming or reports from coaches, well, they're actually going to get a bigger sample size.
Absolutely. What other changes have we seen to the national setup? I know we have new battery coaches for the women's. What else is in the mix with the national setup?
You did right. Softball New Zealand is full on at the moment. They've introduced a lot of different programs, and that's targeted around what they think is missing or should be required for the program in New Zealand. They put a lot of energy and resource into that. Tough time to put resource into sport, but they know it's valid. You mentioned battery. Battery is the pitches and catches. They're doing that for the women's program because we know now that softball is an Olympic sport. It's a big ticket item if you can get your sport into the Olympics.
Absolutely, and not bad names to have in that mix as well, mate. We've seen the first U23 side squad name for the year. Mark's always around the traps looking, but of course with national and international conferences, tournaments that are coming up, we were supposed to have the World Series in February. It's not going to be for another 2 years now, I remember.
Yeah.
But what does that do to our national setup with those tournaments being pushed out? How do our athletes keep motivated, and how do they keep at that level that they should be against the world getters?
Well, if you're talking about international level, of course, those younger grades, we talked about what those coaches and management staff will do. But the senior level, we're lucky in New Zealand. It is still the marquee events are a green and go.
Yes.
So the NFC, there's the National Fast Pitch Championship. That is all good to go. That'll be in February, coming up in 21. And then, of course, the Men's Club Nationals and the Women's Club Nationals. Those are the best club teams in the whole of the country. That'll be in Lower Hutt right here in March. And Christchurch, that's for the men. And the women will be in Christchurch at the same time. That's mid-March. So those marquee events are still going forward. But there is one more crystal in the cupboard.
Tell me, is that a fast type of game or anything like that?
It sure is, my friend. Fastball 45.
Amazing.
If you haven't heard about it, it is the most exciting thing when it comes to sport in New Zealand at the moment. We know that 2020 cricket took cricket to a new realm. Sevens rugby were the first ones when it came from the 15 game to making a new realm. How exciting the game could be. Fast, action, and international. Well, New Zealand have got off their haunches and said, well, let's make it ourselves. Exactly. We're entrepreneurial. Why not? Let's make this game. This game is called Fastball 45. They started it 3 years ago with a pilot game for Sky TV. They loved it. Last year they had a 3-weekend series just based in Auckland. Well, I'm pleased to tell you they are going to launch a national series. 4 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every weekend, 4 weekends in a row. This is prior to Christmas. Fastball 45 is going to hit Sky TV and your television screens coming soon.
Amazing. Mate, I want to talk about this Fastball 45. I know you've elaborated on 2020. Cricket Max started that. Sevens, rugby. The game needed something to spice it up a bit. We, of course, did that pilot for Sky a couple of years ago during the Challenge Cup at Rosedale. Amazing concept. But where have you seen the game grow in just a short time? You've been there from the start. So how have you seen it go?
Well, it's really interesting you asked that question, Damian, because softball's a fast game already. Yes. Right? One of the names of softball is called fast pitch because it's a fast action game. It's only an hour and a half. Yeah, you heard right. It's an hour and a half from the beginning to the end, and you get a result. There's no draws or any of that stuff. You get a result. Then they might play another game that day if you do because it's action-packed. Well, you know what? Fastball 45 turns that on its head. 45 minutes, one game, must be a winner. 3 to 4 innings, that's it. Double play out of the innings, power plays, double points for scoring, you name it. It has got everything. Flamethrowers, sound system, the atmosphere at the ballpark, man. This Fastball 45 is so exciting.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I'm excited for the upcoming season. I've already got the bag down from the roof, mate. But what are the other? Is there anything else that we should know about the game that we love coming up for the summer?
Well, that Fastball 45, like I said, it's going to be on Sky. It's going to be over 3 weekends. The first weekend starts in November 20 to 22. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday night, Saturday night. Just for 2 hours. That's it, 5 till 7. Exciting time. That's all you need. Guess what? There's 2 games in that time. Not 1, 2 games between 5 and 7. And they'll play, it's like Saturday night, and then they'll play a Sunday afternoon. 3 weekends, and it's Auckland first to get an Auckland champ, Christchurch next to get a Christchurch champ, Lower Hutt to get a Wellington Greater Region Upper Hutt Valley champ, and then the grand final will be back up in Auckland, the winners of each of those clusters, if you like. So, man, it is going to be exciting. I can't wait to see it. In my talks with the players before over the first 2 kind of seasons or parts that we've done of Fastball 45, they love it. There's so much acting. It takes all the good things about softball and just puts them in this little shaker. Shakes it up, put some ice in it, tip it over, put your best fluid you like with it, and turns it into something amazing.
Amazing. Well, mate, I love buzzing off you. I love talking ball with you. I love talking sports in general, mate. So thank you for coming in to talk that the national game that is coming up for the 2020-2021 season, mate. Go well, enjoy yourself, and thank you for everything you've done for us and the game.
Fantastic. Can't wait to share softball and Fastball 45 with the rest of the country.